Hi, all, Jeanette here in Old Guy, and yesterday we had a storm with a lot of wind and heavy rain, and we didn't yesterday because we had other things to do, go out and check the garden and what's going on in it. And this morning we're going to go see if we have any damage of plants blown over and take a look and see what everything looks like. So come along with us. We had some really heavy rain and the wind was fierce yesterday. There's branches laying around and we always hate when that happens. Hopefully that's all. I mean, we can live with some branches laying around if we don't have a lot of damage to our money-making crops. The greenhouses seem to have all taken it okay. We didn't see any damage. That door blew closed. That's where the quail were. We don't have any quail in there anymore, but I know that there is a nest. Well, there's a nest of swallows in that light right back there. Fortunately, Mama was, whoop, there goes another. Fortunately, Mama and Daddy, I don't know how the swallows do it, but we're both in here, locked in and not locked out. Here I can't tell what's in that nest. I have to get a different camera, I think. But anyway, that worked out okay since they had somebody in here with them and they weren't locked out. Well, there's a branch that fell out of that walnut tree. You laid your bag of feed on top of that wet towel. You gonna go collect eggs? Duck eggs?
That's the job.
We had one right inside the door, but I don't see any more out here. Yesterday there were 9 duck eggs. So let's go inside and see. There's one. There are 2. There's 1, 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Plus the one I think he already got. So interesting thing, there is not one in there today, but in that nest box we've been finding a duck egg. I sure wish they didn't lay them in the mud, but yucky. Scrape some of that off of there. Here you go.
That's a dozen.
Oh, we got a whole dozen today. That's really cool. Whoa, look at that one. Oh boy. That's really big for a first egg, probably. I expect it's a double yolk. And then there's one quail egg so far, but the quail tend to lay their eggs later in the day, not first thing in the morning like chickens and ducks. And there are 3 in here, so. And you got these last evening? There, and then there's one more over here.
That makes 5.
Okay. You got a chunk of what looks like must be wet food down in there. This roof still has a few little holes. We've plugged them up with some caulking, but there's still a few little holes in here that let water in. Fortunately, I've got my rubber boots on. Out there's one section of the garden. I don't see anything knocked over. We were concerned about the eggplant because it's kind of tall, and walk over there and look. We have a really nice cottonwood tree right there, and it dumped a couple of branches. Sometimes we wish that cottonwood tree was there, and sometimes we wish it wasn't, but it does offer the ducks a lot of shade. Okay, here's old guy's over there working on his fruit trees. This row right here is a row of chocolate habanero peppers, and we haven't got any yet, but I think they're looking pretty good. And then over here in this weed row, I hate to tell you, but those are green beans that kind of got lost. It happens. It's tough to keep the weeds out. This row is a few, well, I think those are probably spaghetti squash from seeing the little ones down in there. I was afraid I'd be walking in water this morning, but the ground actually feels fairly firm. From here down to the end is a row of basil. We pick basil and sell it by the bag full at the market. Here I've got some cabbages. They're coming along, but they're not ready yet. You can tell if they're ready, they're still soft if they're not ready. When they're ready, they go ahead and fill out, and they're hard. And we've got broccoli. Whoa, that one's getting kind of close, but it's not gonna, you can see these little ones, and then these really tight ones. These ones are starting to open first. It's not, the whole head isn't gonna open up at the same time, which is disappointing, but it's okay. We planted these broccolis for our own consumption, not for selling. We used to grow broccoli to sell, but we just decided that it is not profitable. So we quit doing it, but we still like to have some fresh broccoli to eat. On this side of the broccoli, which is the south side, we've got a row of kale that we pick off of every week to sell. Over here we got some better looking green beans, two rows about 24 inches apart. They're looking really good. We kept the weeds out of them. Well, I won't say that we kept them all the way out, but what you see down there is purslane. It stays down close to the ground. I don't want it in there, but it's in there. Oh, this next row is our coxcomb. We sell, late in the summer, we sell huge cut coxcomb at the market, and it looks like some of those got blown over a little bit. Hopefully they'll straighten themselves back up. We've got one double row and then one single row of the coxcomb. This row was planted the end of last week, and it's zucchini. We try to plant zucchini every couple weeks or so. Okay, this is the eggplant that I was kind of concerned about. It is leaning over somewhat. The wind came from the northwest and it's kind of leaning over some, but we're gonna have quite a bit of eggplant this week. I sold some last week that I'd picked. Across right over there is a long purple eggplant that's called Fond May. If you like eggplant and want to grow some, I would suggest that you grow a long purple eggplant, and this Fond May is great. I got the seeds from, I think Johnny's probably, Johnny's seed. It's very mild. Even if you let it get a little big, the seeds aren't ever overly big and bitter. I've never eaten a bitter one, so go for that. These are cayenne peppers. You can see in there some little patches of red. They're just starting to turn red. They look like they're blown a little bit too, which is too bad. Now I'm sinking in the mud. And I don't like that. It's hard to get a lot of mud on my boots and it's hard to get around. I even get stuck. Over here I got different kinds of peppers. They look pretty good. They're still immature enough that they're not too tall and loaded down too much. So I think we're going to be okay there. Now let's go look at the okra. I trudged my way over to the okra and it looks really good. Nothing is blown down here. I think okra has a really good, strong root system. It's pretty muddy. I've got to get out there and pick okra today. I've got some pretty good sized ones. So this next section, 3 of the rows of plastic are all either ghost or orange habanero peppers. They're compact and fairly low down to the ground, so I didn't expect them to be hurt. And they look fine. There's a big swimming hole for a frog. And I didn't come and pick the zucchini yesterday, and I should have. I picked it the day before, but it grows so fast that, and like I said, we were doing other things yesterday. But a lot of times the wind will knock the zucchini all apart, blow it up, just rip it to shreds. But it looks good down through there too. And then on either side of that zucchini, we've got more butternut and spaghetti squash. So winter squash growing out here. I'm really happy with the way things look. There's a pepper plant that is blown over, I think right there. But those aren't habaneros. I think those must be some kind of Anaheim from the looks of them. They're different from the rest of them. They're taller. I decided before I quit here to come up and show the hoop frame that we made for the loofah gourds. They've really grown a lot. They're doing well. Climbing up over the top, you can see right there. They're gonna meet each other. I don't know what happens when they meet each other, but we're still intending to plant some lettuce inside here, which I need to get started in the greenhouse because it'll be shaded in there and not so hot. Lettuce just can't take the heat. That's why we grow it in the spring. And then I've got my 4 pumpkin plants that look great. I dumped some baskets out here that weren't very good, but who knows, they may be growing into the ground there. There's a little row of Thai basil along here that we will be picking to take to the market like we do the Italian basil. This is Jeremiah's homemade trellis for his long beans. They're climbing way up there and doing pretty good. I think right there's, we're going to be seeing some buds. Oh, right there's a flower. Isn't that a pretty little bean flower? So they have to be dealt with and trained a little bit to go up on the string. They wrap themselves around the string here. See how they wrap around there? As they grow, they twine and go right on up there. And then when they get up to the top, they're going to have to go horizontally. It's going to get really heavy. I hope that this string trellis that he made holds up for him. But we'll give it a good try. In the garden house, we have kale and Swiss chard growing. That tall stuff back there is some lettuce that bolted. And then Jeremiah has his elephant garlic in this side, which I think he desperately needs to get picked. And I expect him to do that maybe today. I think overall we came out pretty good, and I'm relieved because, you know, we put so much into doing our job here with our produce, and we try to do the best we can. And for a wind or a hailstorm to come along, that's our biggest threat for the most part, except for probably insects would be maybe bigger or equal to, but they're a lot more likely than a hailstorm. But thanks for joining us on this little tour, and we'll keep you updated on what's going on the homestead. Bye for now.